Let's see what Simon Lono has to say on things. He's a candidate in St. John's for Ward 2, I do believe. Mr. Lono, you're on the air.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
I'm fine, and yourself?
I can't complain. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah? How's your campaign going?
I think it's coming out very well. We've been pretty busy. We've been hitting the streets, and we should be opening up a headquarters now pretty shortly.
Where you go? Were you thinking about opening your headquarters?
Well, we're looking at a couple of different spots. It hasn't been resolved yet.
Okay.
But as soon as I find out, you'll find out.
All right. And Ward 2, I mean, it's a big area. What is it bounded by, roughly, ballpark, with no detail necessary? But what area are we talking about, Simon?
Basically, we're going, it's a downtown area going from Kitty Vitty to Blackhead. Upper boundary is Empire.
Right, I got a grip on it now. Blackhead. So this camp, do you have a position on this campground proposed for Blackhead?
I haven't looked at the details on it yet. I'd like to see more information before I make a comment on it.
Okay, good enough. Well, when you do, let us know for sure.
Oh, I will for sure. I think, one thing for sure is that a couple of your callers have mentioned that we don't have enough places, and they're quite right about that. You shouldn't have to be driving, 4, 5, 6 hours in order to find a campground. I've yet to figure out if that's the right spot for it, but I know we need some more within the greater St. John's area.
All right, interesting point. Now, and what's on your mind now in the next few minutes at your disposal?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about this crime committee business, and I think part of the, people are fighting to take credit over this advisory committee on crime for the mayor.
Yeah.
But really, when you get right down to it, when the biker gangs in Montreal look at places to expand, they're not going to say, "Oh, look at this! St. John's has an advisory committee on crime. We better stay away from there."
Okay.
So I know, and it strikes me as it is cheap in terms that it doesn't cost any money. And I think, you're really getting what you pay for in terms of that kind of thing, because I'm not sure it'll have any impact on crime. And I think that's the real issue with this committee business. And I think I've got a better solution than that.
All right, what is it?
Well, there's something called the Safe Communities and Neighborhoods Act. And this is a piece of legislation that was passed in Saskatchewan, in Nova Scotia, in Alberta, and it was also passed in Newfoundland in 2007. Mm-hmm. And what it does is it allows for people to make complaints about properties where they figure crime is going on. The Department of Justice takes the complaint, does an investigation, can shut down the house for up to 90 days. They can evict the people who live there. And so basically it takes the fight on crime right where they live.
All right. Kind of very sort of, some people would call those radical measures. Have they worked elsewhere to your knowledge, Simon?
Well, there was, when the Tessier Place issue exploded, there was a number of stories, and I did some checking out on this further. The local media spoke to the gentleman from Manitoba who runs the program in Manitoba. And it looks like it's working there well. It looks like it's been working in Nova Scotia. It looks like it's been working in Saskatchewan. Now, the problem here, in terms of the city and crime, is that it's the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary. It's not the Royal St. John's Constabulary. We don't have power over that. The Department of Justice is a provincial department, and it's not. We don't have a municipal Department of Justice. It's really in the hands of the province. And the problem in this case is that the province passed the legislation in 2007, but they haven't put it in place. Yeah. They haven't proclaimed it, and they haven't put together the unit in the Department of Justice that needs to be there. Now, Tom Osborne was the Minister of Justice who passed it. Yeah. Then he got tossed from Cabinet. Then the whole project just seems to have died. But Osborne himself has mentioned that he believes that Tessier Place would have been a perfect case study for this legislation. So what really I think needs to happen is the city needs to start banging on the province and tell them, get this on the go. Because no matter what St. John's does, for example, if you decide to have a bunch of gangbangers come in from Paradise, it doesn't make a difference what the Mayor's Advisory Committee does. It really is a short-term, short-sighted, cheap political solution to to what is really a problem that affects people, and particularly in Ward 2, I have to say.
Right. Well, listen, very interesting analysis of the situation. You're a very thoughtful person. You always have been, and you're a thoughtful and a candidate and a person who considers his points of view and researches and so on. Sometime when you get a chance to call before the election, if you have some thoughts on whether the city of St. John's is basically impotent as a government, whether it doesn't have enough power compared to the powers that repose in the provincial, maybe even federal government, that maybe more powers, including the power of policing and taking on organized crime in a city like St. John's, should be part of the powers of a city. These are vital issues, and I'd like to hear you on that, if you wouldn't mind, Simon.
I'd love to talk about it. It's a tough one to deal with in 4 minutes, but we'll do what we can.
Yeah, well, we certainly will. And thank you very much for calling today. We appreciate your call, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And Simon Lono is a candidate for council in Ward 2. And whether you agree or disagree with him, he certainly brings up interesting topics and furthers the discussion on them and analyzes them and gives us food for thought. I, for one, appreciate that.